December 2013. Monsanto and mycogen exploding. They're expanding, rapid expansion. Okay, they're right below Kuala Pu'u town. They get fused right below. They're right next to Akaula School. They're right across the street from Kuala Pu'u Elementary School. And they're right across the gulch from Molokai Hen Intermediate School. And the upwind of most of Holihua. Okay, for a long time, it was telling people about how dangerous these pesticides that mycogen and Monsanto are using, yeah? And everybody said, well, where's the proof? You know, I want to see proof. So, me and the prince, we go Kauai to find the proof. On Kauai, they're going through what we're going through. They get Pioneer, Syngenta, okay? And they're doing the exact same thing Monsanto is doing here, and mycogen, okay? They're around, they get the test fields around people's homes and around schools. And they're using the same farming practices. They're spraying immense amount of chemicals around schools and around people's houses. So sit back, relax, and watch some heavy testimony from the island of Kauai to you on Molokai, for you to learn and make a decision. Aloha.
So give a hand, warm welcome to Hano Hano.
If you like poison your own place. Yeah? If you like experiment on your own family. And if you think GMOs is safe, drink the poison. If anybody ever come up to you guys and tell you guys, oh, why is GMO so bad? Tell them, man, drink this, right? And tell them that's what you're doing to every single one of our families without us even knowing. Could you guys please tell Molokai no GMOs? Okay, we're gonna check no. Aole GMOs. Aole GMOs. Aole GMOs. Aole GMOs.
What's going on over here is so serious. They say it's causing division. This has caused unity in our island. It's brought our island together. Because for what? For the future. The future of our island is why we're here. It's not about the now. It's not about the money. It's about the future. It's about the kids. Division. This is unity. 4 to 6,000 people just marched up this street to this building, united in love. They never said nothing negative. They never was threatening nobody. They never was calling people howlies. They wasn't doing nothing. It was, this is Hawaiians, howlies. This was every kind of person you're going to find on this island marching together for the same thing.
My name is Tom Perry, and I'm the current director of the Hawaii State Teachers Association. I've been in that role for 18 years. In 2008, actually the school year 2007-2008, teachers started to call me from Waimea Canyon School saying that they were getting sick and they couldn't understand why. They had to start closing with to teach class, otherwise they were becoming sick along with their kids. And many times we had to try to talk with the administration and with Syngenta, who was spraying in the field. Well, nothing really happened, and we were not able to stop any of the spraying until on the day of January 25th, 2008. That day, the Kona winds were blowing very hard, and the teachers called me and they said, we're really sick here. We have kids sick here. Everyone is getting sick. We need you to come here to try to stop this. So I drove out there, and that morning, when we got there were ambulances in the courtyard by the health room, where the students were getting sick in large numbers, along with the teachers.
I'm a mother of 2 young boys. My first son was born completely healthy, but my second son here, Pa'akamana'o, was born with an extremely rare heart defect called hypoplastic right heart syndrome. along with many other organ abnormalities. This defect is not genetic, according to geneticists who tested us at Kapiolani Medical Center, as well as Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego. Upon the birth of Pa'a, we were shipped immediately to Oahu and then shipped from there to San Diego because our son was dying, his heart unable to pump his own blood through his body. He was hospitalized for almost 6 months and endured 9 surgeries during those months, 2 of those being open heart surgery. My son will live a life of constant medical attention. He will not be able to engage in aerobic activity. He's scheduled for his next open heart surgery in May because as he grows, his heart function declines. But there is a correlation between the fact that there is a lot of pesticide use on the west side and there's a great incidence of heart defects to children born on the west sides. According to a doctor on the west side, I quote, recent CDC statistics put transposition at 1 in 3,300 births, hypoplastic left heart at 1 in 4,344 births, and hypoplastic right heart, which is what my son has, at 1 in 17,000 births. In the last 3 years, we've had 750 deliveries. This gives us an incidence of 53 in 10,000 births for these defects. National U.S. data shows an incidence of 5.5 in 10,000 births. So that says that we have 10 times the national rate of these rare heart defects on the west side of Kauai. So that says that we have 10 times the national rate of these rare heart defects on the west side of Kauai.
I'm here on behalf of myself and my family, and I want to speak about my child who was born with a neurological brain defect, and we have tested him under the sun through Kapiolani and KVMH for everything, and they cannot figure out what happened. I'm a mother above anything and above all that notice other children around that are seizing, that have moved here from Honolulu into Waimea and all of a sudden started seizing, having these major seizures. To hold your child when they're seizing and to know that there's nothing you can do about it is something that no mother should ever go through. No one should ever go through. Please, our children are sick. Lots of children are sick. Kekaha School, lots of children are sick. Please help our sick children.
But I want to share one story with you about my son. 2 days old, he was born on brain bleed, but nobody can even explain what happened. Okay. Till today, he's 6 years old, and he gets seizures, and nobody knows why.
My name is Arthur Bruin. I vote, I bathe, and I use deodorant.
Town West Side, lived there my whole life, involved in the community my whole life. I have 5 kids. Do I look like I have anything wrong with me because of GMOs? Because of pesticides? None. Nothing wrong. All right? My son is diabetic. My son is diabetic.
My son has a condition called gastroschisis. Basically, the stomach's on the outside when he's born. You know, and I came across 4 other friends of mine that had the same condition. It's been more commonly found in the islands of Hawaii, and there have been several studies and scientists who directed gastroschisis with a chemical called astrazines, and they say that the chemical is sprayed more here on this island than anywhere else in the world. Just hope you guys take care of the iron on our children so we don't have to go through this. Maybe it's too late for my son, but maybe we can educate someone else. And I'm just speaking on behalf of my girlfriend and my unborn son. I don't blame anybody, but I just want to stop the poisoning. Just educate somebody. Something's wrong here. I just want to stop this. Put yourself in my shoes. I got to go move to Arizona. I don't even know I'm from Kauai. I got to go up there and bring a baby into the world that's got to get cut open right away.
Now it's the doctors and scientists' turn for Shere Mana'o about pesticides and about these companies.
I'm here to testify in support of Bill 2491, and in doing so, I wear 2 hats. I am the Vice President of the Hawaiian Nurses Association, and I want this committee and all present to know that the nurses of Hawaii fully support the passing of this bill. Protecting our citizens, the land, our water and ocean should be the #1 priority. I've seen patients of all ages who suffer various health problems, some very serious, after being inadvertently exposed to these chemicals that the ag companies are assuring us are safe. These patients come to our hospital suffering from respiratory problems and difficulty breathing. Some have neurological problems. They can't walk steady. They have tremors. They have overall body weakness. Their blood tests can be abnormal. They have problems with some of their organs. Their kidneys or livers aren't functioning properly.
My concern about this issue first began several years ago when our cancer fellowship trained surgeon stated that she was troubled by the incidence of cancer on the island, specifically on the west side. She also expressed concern that she was encountering clusters of very rare cancers. I also heard the pediatricians lament the incidence of asthma on the west side. The most senior OBGYN physician on the west side states that he sees a much higher than expected incidence of severe birth defects such as heart, neurologic, gastrointestinal, and craniofacial than would be expected in a population this size. The physicians on the North Shore who treat children do not see asthma and nosebleeds at the extreme levels that are consistently reported by the west side pediatricians. There is also strong recent research showing that diabetes rates are increased dramatically by pesticide exposure, even when a diet and sedentary lifestyle are taken into account. My personal research, which was only performed recently after the list of restricted use pesticides was finally provided by the seed companies, has shown that the problems we are seeing correlate with the types of pesticides applied. Much of the data was contained in the 2012 systemic review of pesticide and health effects published by the Ontario College of Family Physicians and 142 articles referenced by this comprehensive study.
My support for the bill is based on the recent findings and publications by the American Academy of Pediatrics. The Academy is made up of most of the board-certified pediatricians in America. In November 2012, the Academy came out with a policy statement on pesticides. They stated that 1. Pesticide exposure may be much more of a problem than we have realized in the past. 2. New evidence shows that the unborn child, the infant, and the growing child appear to be particularly sensitive to the effects of pesticides, and that pesticides may specifically affect the health of these children in ways ranging from behavioral problems to chronic illnesses to cancers such as leukemia. 5. They state very specifically that pediatricians should support efforts to make pesticide-free zones around schools and other public places, and that we support the right to know where and what is being sprayed. A letter in support of this bill and supporting statements by the American Academy of Pediatrics was signed and sent to the Council. It was signed by me, Dr. Wotering, Dr. Carolyn, Dr. Wiener, Dr. Yu, Dr. Carreau, Dr. Nelson, Dr. Knox, Dr. Godding, Dr. Riola, Dr. Niedi, Dr. Grande, Dr. Hopkins, Dr. Spokstosa, and Dr. Gamby.
I am a senior research scientist at MIT, and my recent research has involved trying to understand what's causing the autism epidemic in America. Currently 1 in 50, 1 in 31 boys. I have a BS degree in biology and a PhD in computer science from MIT, and I have researched and published many papers on autism. My research has led me to conclude that exposure to environmental pesticides may be the most important factor contributing to the autism epidemic. I believe these chemicals also play an important role in the obesity epidemic in America and the worldwide die-off of frogs and bee colony collapse syndrome.
Don Huber, Emeritus Professor of Purdue University, also retired Colonel as Associate Director of the Armed Forces Medical Intelligence Center, Fort Detrick, Maryland, and former Chairman of the USDA National Plant Disease Recovery Program. To give you an example, the newspapers in Yakima, Spokane, and Seattle all last week carried the account asking the question of why are so many of our babies being born with an encephalopathy. Well, if you go back and recognize what the clinical studies have shown on glyphosate, you'd know exactly why we have the encephalopathy, because during the early 3 months of gestation, that's one of the systems that is hit. Why we have an epidemic of cleft palates, why we have an epidemic of 35 diseases, everything from autism to Alzheimer's to Crohn's. Also, I just came back from Guatemala. Came back with Dr. Malcolm Summer from the University of Georgia. Serious problems there with renal failure and
3 minutes.
Kidney failure. Again, limited to the sugarcane workers, where they're using glyphosate as a desiccant, as a ripener, in those programs.
We have testimony from people, many people, who say, you know, I've worked with this stuff my whole life. My dad worked with it. I work with it. My kids run through the fields in it. I've had farmers from Iowa say that they wash their hands in it, and they're okay. What would your response be to that?
It's the #1 suicide chemical for South America and Asia because it's readily accessible. It doesn't take very much because it's a very strong chelator, so that it immobilizes the cofactors for a number of enzyme systems, shuts the system down. It's a chronic toxin. It's not an acute, so they won't feel that effect immediately. They feel that effect is something that's accumulative. Part of it is from changing the gut microflora, but part of it is the direct toxicity as it shuts down part of the physiology of your body also. And as Sampson and Seneff from Massachusetts Institute of Technology have concluded in their recent publication, it's probably the most toxic environmental chemical that we've ever had.
It's time. The time is now. We're on the teeter-tot all around the world. We're teeter-totting. Either we're going to go one way and take care and malama where we live and make it a better place and stop poisoning, or else we're going to go the other way and we're going to destruct. Because that's what's going on all around the world, and it's going on here more than anywhere. There's testing facilities here by the largest chemical corporations in the world. It's not farming. This is testing facilities. These people think they're feeding the world. I hear it how many times? We're feeding the world. We're not feeding one person out of these fields. We're not feeding nobody. Farmers grow food. Farmers grow food.
We don't know any other place for go. This is where we from. I gotta go ask my family, pick some place for go. Why? Because if we stay here, our kids gonna die young. Yeah? What? Yeah. They're gonna die. Yeah, everybody die. Yeah, but quicker. Yeah? This stuff is unproven. Dangerous. They're sacrificing our place and our kids for humanity. Nah, that's not fair. Yeah. Everybody go take care of themselves.